Upmanu Lall. He's professor of engineering at Columbia University and director of the Columbia Water Center. Professor, we heard in that piece from our reporter, it is Tianshan, that the town of Las Vegas, New Mexico, is looking for a permanent solution to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. In your idea, in your vision, what would be a permanent solution?
Yeah, I'm not very familiar with that location, so I'm not sure that I can give an authoritative answer. But generally speaking, I think this kind of challenge is being faced in many places in the US and elsewhere. And what we are going to have to do is to radically change the way we use water. As you heard a few minutes ago, they are doing a lot of conservation efforts and reuse efforts, although many of these efforts are not really strictly engineered or planned. And what we are going to see is that we will probably end up with a shift in the way water treatment is done and wastewater reuse is done. So I expect that in a place like Las Vegas, New Mexico, you have groundwater sources. It's possible that they have some contamination. And then you have surface water sources, which are a challenge because with a drought that has been going on there, the quantity is quite limited. And in both cases, there's a potential for significant contamination. What this says is that no matter what the source of the water we use, we are going to have sophisticated treatment systems to bring it to a safe level. Similarly, the water that's used in the house or turns into wastewater after going through the different systems such as showers and things like that. And we are going to have to start treating that as a source and treating it and reusing it for different purposes. It's possible that in the kitchen and for drinking, where we need ultra high quality, we will end up with point of use systems. And then for the rest of the uses, we will probably treat things not quite to the same standard. But I think a major shift in the way this is
Professor, let me interrupt you. We're covering a lot of ground here, a lot of moving parts here. You talked about sophisticated treatment centers. When you look at a map of America, and I know obviously you don't know every nuance about every town and community, are you concerned that a lot of people who are dealing with this water crisis just don't have the resources, or as you said, those sophisticated treatment centers?
Yes, I think this is, the state of the infrastructure for water in the US is at a point where we really have to be thinking about what the future is, because the federal investment in the infrastructure has been stagnant since around 1976. This year, President Biden has allocated quite a few resources, but they are targeted for a few things and not broadly applicable to infrastructure upgrades. Since there has not been so much federal money allocated, there has also been limited thinking about what the future of the infrastructure should look like. And I think those things need to be addressed urgently. Otherwise, only the major cities in the US will have high quality functioning systems.
So are you worried, Professor, that there are towns that are just going to dry up, forcing people to leave?
I think something like that could happen, but just 2 weeks ago in the news was Jackson, Mississippi, where there was a flood rather than a drought, and that essentially led to a failure of their entire drinking water supply system, which had been failing for years anyway, but this took it over the breaking point completely. So I think we have floods and droughts and water quality failures that are contributing to the crises that we have. In the case of Jackson, they had a major pump, which is not really that expensive, that broke down, and that contributed to the problem.